Oh, that will look great on the fucking video.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not flashing.
No, I have different modes. Don't worry.
Okay. I was about to say, if you kept it flashing, that would just be a fucking terrible YouTube experience.
This is not an epileptic friendly episode. I love everyone that's listening to this is
Gonna just have no idea what we're talking
They're
about.
really
But you are
confused.
dressed really fancy.
I am. You're dressed even more fancy than me. You look like you're about to get a scandal on Fox News.
I look like I'm about to scam some rich people and then go to prison for 3 life sentences.
AI,
Yeah.
of course.
I'm the new Sam Bankman-Fried. That was that AI guy, right? The weird one that was
OpenAI. No, OpenAI is Sam Altman. That's the guy. Sam Altman thinks he's God.
So the one that I'm talking about, you know what I'm
Sam
talking about?
Bankman-Fried's the guy that looks like Benny Blanco.
Yeah, he's got like the curly hair,
Yeah.
and him and his girlfriend did like gross sex.
I don't know about the gross sex. He looks.
I heard it stank.
He looks like.
Yeah.
For those of you not watching on YouTube, like and subscribe. We are dressed up right now.
Yeah, I'm wearing one of those one-piece bikinis that's just really thin over the nipples.
Have you seen the ones where it's like a bra and a bikini top combined? But like, I mean, like, you know, bikini tops are bras, but like, you know how like bras have support in them?
Yeah.
It's the ones that like go over your neck and
Yeah.
like just like go over your boobs. Neck support. It's like one of those like physics things. Like your neck supports your boobs.
Yeah.
That's what you're in.
Yeah.
I'm describing it.
I'm just trying to lie to people so they come to YouTube and they're like, ooh.
Yeah. Thirst trap.
I've also self-diagnosed myself with a sinus infection, so again,
We have an 80 question quiz to take for that.
we don't have a sinus infection quiz, but I sound like shit. Again, I apologize. Hopefully I'll be better by next week.
You did sound, I don't want to say you sounded like shit last week, but you sounded, I didn't notice it while we were recording, but then when I listened to it, I was like, oh yeah, he sounds sick.
Yeah. The end of last week's episode when my voice like just cracked, I thought that was hella funny.
Yeah. I usually listen to it in 2x or like 2-speed or whatever it's called, 2x. Listened to it actually last week on Google Drive. I listened to it in the raw format. My voice cracks a lot too. Still going through puberty apparently. But
I need to make sure I'm not like sniffling into the microphone. That's gonna be a problem.
what if someone has a sniffle fetish?
Oh, well then they're getting it real fucking hard.
Okay, so for those of you not watching on YouTube, like and subscribe. We are dressed up because we're going to a trader's party later today.
Yeah, we're going to Trader Joe's. They're shutting it down for us.
I'm gonna rob a Trader Joe's in this outfit.
We're gonna trade goods and services for other goods and services.
Bartering.
Yeah.
So I am dressed as the American because the European shows always have the American. But what I was getting at with the sniffle fetish is I have this bandana on. And I was like, oh, because we have a bunch of bandanas over there because apparently it's part of a challenge. I'm assuming that it's something like a blindfold.
I think that's probably just a collection of bandanas that we brought to Coachella.
It is, but like it's being used for a challenge.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I was like, oh, since I'm doing the whole cowboy thing, the American thing, but I'm in like cowboy boots and a cowboy hat, I should do the bandana thing for the gay people.
Dude, gay people like bandanas?
Do you know what the handkerchief code is?
No.
So the handkerchief code is this thing that it's not just gay men, it's like the whole LGBTQ plus community does. Usually at like a club. And I don't think it's as prominent now as it was back in like the 80s, but what you would do is you would wear a colored bandana in your back pocket on either your left side or your right side, and it would tell people like what you're into sexually.
Oh.
So
okay.
For example,
what's the differentiation between the left and right side mean?
Well, because a lot of times with like sexual acts, it's like giving and receiving.
Oh,
so you might for example
catcher
like,
type shit.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So like for example, like the white handkerchief is like jacking off.
So, you just like beating off.
Well, so like if you wear it on your left, you're into masturbating. But if you wear it on your right, you're into like giving someone a hand job.
Oh, okay.
Like you're more into like pleasuring the other person or like getting the other person off.
Okay.
The yellow handkerchief is exactly what you think it is.
Piss?
Yeah.
Nice.
I was going to do this one. I was looking for one that I looked up the code because I don't know the code off the top of my head because I just don't do that often.
Is it like the pirate code where like if you break a rule, you just die?
No. I think if you break a code, you're going to end up doing something you don't want to do. Very interesting. The black one is S&M. And that's
that comedy skit show, right? S&M.
The Impractical Jokers, who got canceled twice this week.
No, I was making an SNL joke, but
SNL. I don't know. I don't watch SNL.
And nobody watches this episode of the Learning Curve podcast.
Live from Saturday night. It is the Learning Curve podcast.
Live from Saturday night on New York City.
On New York City? Yeah. On the whole city?
Yeah.
Oh, God. What have you been up to this? Oh, wait. We should introduce ourselves. Don't let me forget that. Do I go first?
Yes.
Okay. I'm like if Arthur Morgan kissed guys, which he does, but I'm Cameron.
My name is Bodhi, a.k.a. Shrinky Dink, a.k.a. Mr. Tan.
Mr. Tan.
Yeah.
You got like the Obama scandal going on.
Oh yeah, I forgot. People were pissed at him because
that was my thing about Fox News. Your scandal on Fox News.
Yeah. I thought you just meant I look like a racist white person.
South African?
Possibly.
I am nodding along for those listening.
So you were saying what did I do this week?
What have you been up to this week?
I fucking blew my nose a lot.
That's it?
Pretty much, yeah.
I quit my job.
I know. You told me you got a new job, and now we're gonna have to cancel the podcast.
Damn.
Well, it was fun while it lasted.
11 episode run. Bye.
Maybe if we get 10 more subscribers on this episode, we'll keep it going.
Maybe if we get 100 subscribers on TikTok or followers on TikTok, we'll jump up and down in gray sweatpants.
I don't think I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna be honest, because like, who the fuck wants to watch that?
40-year-old men.
I don't give a fuck about them. Like, you reach 30, you should die. Like, your time is over.
Then. My time? I'm not 30 yet.
You're
not quite yet.
On the way out.
I'm 11 months ahead of you.
It's like 2 months before you're done.
No, I'm turning 28. What?
Don't lie.
Don't lie.
Don't lie to the people. This is a truth podcast.
Have you applied for new jobs since you got your current job?
Hell no.
Don't.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
The job
fucked up looking for a job right now.
It's ass. It's so ass. Like, I apply for jobs and they call me back like 2 months later. Are you still interested? No, I'm actually not now.
Yeah.
I'm homeless because of you. Not that I quit my job and didn't have a job lined up, but you know.
Yeah, you did lose your house though.
Yeah, this is a green screen that we're sitting in front of.
We're under the I-5 overpass recording this episode. We just have really good noise gates.
We have a real good noise popper guards or whatever they're called.
Yeah, you get their popper guard.
Oh. What do you want to talk about? Oh, you got something. Okay.
Yeah. So you mentioned earlier we're doing a Traders themed party. Traders is a reality TV show. People at work have explained it to me, and from what I gather, it's just like real life Among Us. You know what Among Us is? You don't be playing a whole lot of games, but
no, I don't. And I'm really gonna sit here and hope that you don't ask me to explain the Traders to you because I don't watch the Traders.
Oh fuck, man, that was my fucking question.
Okay,
I was gonna say, okay, let me explain Among Us, and then I'll see if it's anything like what you know. So Among Us, you got these little dudes, right? They're on a spaceship or something, and they have to complete a certain amount of tasks within a certain amount of time. Everybody has like different tasks that they have to complete. Depending on how many people are playing the game, there's like 1 or 2 people who look like everybody else, whose goal is to go around and kill all of the people before they complete their tasks. There's like a voting stage that happens where people gather, they discuss who they think is the killer, and then you can vote them off. So it's like a whole game of deception where the killers are trying to vote off the innocent people while also like running around killing them and trying to not get caught.
Yeah. Okay. So it's similar.
Okay.
Similar. From what I've watched a few episodes of The Traitors, but I don't watch the show enough to like understand it. But I know the premise. Okay. So essentially, you have to have had, at least for the U.S. traitors, from what I understand, you have to have been on TV before to get on.
Okay.
So they usually offer it to like celebrities or like reality TV celebrities. So like the Housewives, Survivor, The Challenge, all those people are like on there. I know that the Traitors had, I don't remember his name, but one of the UK prime ministers that from like before Tony Blair. I forget his name. And Tony Blair was before oh God, what's the lady that did Brexit? Theresa May.
Oh.
So it was Tony Blair, then Theresa May. So the guy before Tony Blair, I forget his name.
Okay.
So they had like him on there. You know, they could theoretically get like a retired politician. Like,
okay.
I don't think it's like out of the realm that like someone like Kamala Harris or George Santos would be on the Traitors. I mean, I think if they put George Santos on the Traitors, they'd get a lot of blowback. But
I think George Santos on
I think
a
he would do
reality
good.
TV show would be crazy.
The problem is he's just a conservative dipwit.
Yeah.
So that's like, you know, but you know, stuff like that, right? So you have to be on there. They put you in a mansion. There's like certain challenges, and essentially, I don't know if it's consistently 3 or 4, but I know it's at least 3. You have to have 3 traitors, and what they do is they kind of meet. They're like a council. They meet in secret, and it's like sanctioned by the production. So like the production will like pull them out of their room like once everyone goes to bed for the night, and be like, okay, you can go meet, and then they decide who to kill.
Okay.
And so when they kill people, they send people home.
Okay.
So there's that.
Question. If I get killed tonight, am I just supposed to go home?
No, I don't know.
Okay.
Well, I told Sean, if I get killed, I'm going to take a nap. Because
you can just lay on the floor and pretend to be dead and sleep.
No, I'm going to go to my room and take a nap. I'm going to literally go in there. So they kill people. They like decide amongst themselves, right? They're also players of the game. So they're trying to blend in. It's like a chameleon thing.
Okay.
And then they have like a challenge and all this crap. And then at the end of each episode, I believe, they meet as a whole group. Everyone, regardless of traitor status.
Okay.
And then they vote who they think is a traitor out. And so because there's usually for the game, there's like 20-ish people probably, and then like 3 traitors. The chances of a traitor going home are pretty like statistically slim in a random picking. But like it's all strategy. You know, you want to blend in, you don't want to, you know, whatever. And then if they send a traitor home, they send a traitor home. They basically, as you're walking out, you reveal if you're a traitor or not.
Okay.
And if they send a traitor home, they send a traitor home.
Do they reveal it to like all the people playing or just to the camera?
Yes. No. They reveal it to everyone playing because the people have to know like essentially like who they're voting for.
Gotcha. Okay.
You know the faker game, Faking It or whatever it's called on Jackbox. On Jackbox, it's very similar to that.
Okay. This also sounds similar to Mafia with the secret council thing. I don't know if you ever played Mafia.
No.
It's like the same sort of thing. It's that. My God, I have so much snot that's just starting to come out as we are recording.
Do we need a pause?
I'll have you fill and I'll go grab a tissue and blow my nose at some point.
Okay.
But yeah, it's like the same sort of thing. It's like a bunch of people sitting around a table. You have like the mafia. They like everyone goes to sleep and like puts their heads down, and then like the mafia will pop their heads up and choose someone to kill, and then you have like a sheriff whose job is to like find the mafia. And then you have a doctor who can like protect people from being killed, and they'll all like take turns kind of popping their heads up and down.
I don't know if they have like immunity stuff like that, like the doctor in the Traitors, but it sounds similar.
Yeah, I just meant with like the secret like council type thing. Yeah.
I do know that they sometimes recruit people to be a traitor. So I think in
like,
the
hey, I'm a traitor. Come join me.
Like they have to pick someone to be a traitor.
Okay.
So like there'll be 3. So that there's 3 pre-chosen, and then the host might be like, "Oh, you need to pick a 4th."
Okay.
So then they need to pick someone that can blend in and someone that can actually play the game well.
Does that person get a choice in it, or it's just you're picked and you're a trader now?
Nope. You're a pick and you're a trader.
So what's the prize at the end of all of this?
Of the actual game or the game we're going to today?
Both.
Okay, so from my understanding, the prize at the end is like $1 million. The whole thing is it's split between all the winners.
Yeah.
So it's strategic to send non-traders home.
Yeah.
Because you want to narrow down the split.
Yeah, it's also... Oh, gotcha. You're talking from the trader perspective. Or non-trader perspective.
From the non-trader perspective,
sorry.
Correct, yeah.
And so if I was a trader and it was getting low, I'd be like, all right, maybe we kick one of us out.
Well, and that's the whole thing. So the goal is for either the traders to be the only ones left standing, or a trader or whatever, or to have all the traders go home.
Yeah. So the traders just win when there's at least an equal number of traders to non-traders, right?
I think so, but don't quote me on it. The prize for tonight is, from my understanding, a box of chocolates.
Let's go.
A bottle of wine. There was something else, and a ticket for free mini golf at Sunsplash.
At Sunsplash?
Yeah.
Where the fuck is there a Sunsplash?
In Roseville.
Oh, that's a Sunsplash?
Yeah. Golfland, sorry. Golfland Sunsplash.
Oh. They have mini golf there?
They have a 36-hole mini golf.
Damn.
Yeah.
There's more holes than I got. By like 34.
More than I got by 33. I got the secret third hole.
You got the secret third hole. Oh my god.
Right in the back of the knee. Oh god. Do you watch reality TV at all?
Not a lot. Me and my girlfriend went on a kick and watched the first few seasons of Hell's Kitchen. But once they got rid of John Pierre, we stopped watching.
Hell's Kitchen's with Gordon Ramsay, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't watched Hell's Kitchen, but I've watched MasterChef.
Didn't you go to a Hell's Kitchen?
I did. I went to the one. I've been to the one in Tahoe. I've been to the one in Vegas.
With Gordon Ramsay?
Wait, what?
Why you asked me if it's with Gordon Ramsay?
I just wanted to make sure.
Okay.
I didn't know. Yeah, I watched MasterChef with Gordon Ramsay, and I watched Next Level Chef with Gordon Ramsay. Next Level Chef is an interesting concept, but
that's the one with the like floors that they have to cook on, right?
Yeah, and the gimmick is like there's like the basement, which is like shitty equipment, like dull knives, all that crap. Medium one, which is like a home kitchen, so you have like some equipment, but it's like good equipment, and then like the professional kitchen, which is like, you know.
Oh, I didn't know there was different like tools on each level. I thought it was just slowly filling with water, and they have to cook before the water reaches them.
That's like a Cutthroat Kitchen. Have you ever seen Cutthroat Kitchen?
No.
You should watch Cutthroat Kitchen because it's not even like a cooking show. It's almost a comedy show because it's like the early seasons of it were so funny. So basically the premise is Alton Brown's the host, and there's 4 contestants at the start, and basically you are given a dish to cook, and sometimes it'll be super specific and sometimes it'll be broad. So sometimes he'll be like, I'm in the mood for like breakfast, cook me a breakfast.
It must be so sick to be the host of that show because you can just be like, yeah, cook me this, I'm hungry.
Yeah, well, he doesn't eat it, that's the whole thing. So he might say like, oh, I'm in the mood for breakfast, cook me a breakfast, but then he might say, I'm in the mood for like a French omelet, cook me a French omelet. So then you have to cook that specific thing, right? Everyone at the beginning of the game gets $25,000, and they get to go into the pantry at the beginning of each round for a minute to grab all of their ingredients for that dish.
Okay.
They don't spend money on it. That's free. But they only get 1 minute to grab everything. Then there's an auction period where you can buy sabotages for the other contestants.
Okay.
And
is there like a blindfold one where they just got to cook blind the entire time?
There probably has been. Honestly, I haven't watched the whole series, but I've watched like seasons like 1 through 13. But the kick is that $25,000 that you have for the auction is your winnings.
Oh.
So if you spend $23,000 and then you win the game, you only get $2,000.
That's fucked.
Yeah, so it's like an incentive to not spend too much.
Yeah, but then you could go on traders.
Yeah, or you can come back for like more episodes. So basically the show, it's funny because the show would start off with things like, I want nachos, right? And then he would say, oh, you can swap someone's tortillas or their tortilla chips out for these crushed tortillas. Or these crushed tortilla. Like there was one where they had to make a burrito, and he was like, if you buy this sabotage, you can choose one opponent and I will put their tortillas through a shredder, like a paper shredder.
That's
and then
crazy.
They have to use that as their like tortilla. So the person that got it had to sit there and do like a lattice to make a tortilla, right? And it was stuff like, it was super.
I would have just been like, this is a deconstructed burrito, and just make like
so
a Chipotle burrito bowl.
Is they did that at the beginning, and it's always the same 4 judges. So it's Simon Majumdar, who's like a food critic, Jet Tila, who's like a really famous chef, Antonio LaFasa, who's a famous chef, and I don't know his first name. Oh, Jeffrey Zakarian, who's an Iron Chef.
Okay.
They would frequently do deconstructed shit, and the judges would get so fucking mad because they would do it like every single round. They're like, stop doing deconstructed shit. Like there was one time when he was like, this is a deconstructed chicken nugget. Like, because he couldn't bind the chicken together. And so like the judge was just like, really? Like, what? So it started off with like reasonable challenges, right? So like it would be like, oh, make a grilled cheese, okay? And then one of the sabotages was like, you can swap someone's entire cheese for a can of Cheese Whiz.
Hell yeah.
So it's like, okay, that's shit, but like you can make it work. And then it got to the point where he was like, I want a lobster roll. And then it's like, okay, buy this challenge and you can make someone cook on this life-size boat that I've constructed in the parking lot that is a hurricane simulator. Like, and it gets just like so crazy. There was one where he put them in like a chain gang. He was like, buy this and I can chain all 3 people's legs together.
That's insane.
Yeah. One of my favorite ones that they did was they had to do a dish. I think it was like sushi. So they had to have like knives and like certain equipment. Yeah. They had to share equipment for 3 people.
Damn.
And so like they had to like time everything out. There was one where and then some of the sabotages, everyone gets sabotaged and you get to choose which sabotage you want. So the winner gets like the best pick. So like it might be like, oh, make me a I don't know, fucking chicken parmesan. Right? Okay, I'm going to take everyone's breadcrumbs away and I'm going to give you different forms of breadcrumbs. And then it'll be like soggy bread, moldy bread, all this shit, right? And so the judges, though, didn't watch them cook. So the judges had no idea what the fuck they were eating. And a lot of times it was like really gross shit.
Yeah, fucking moldy breadcrumbs. I'm a judge.
Well, like at that point, you just don't do breadcrumbs. Like that's the sabotage. Is now you don't get breadcrumbs. So now you have to make a chicken parmesan that's good and you don't get breadcrumbs and you have to sell it. Like you have to like sell it as a presentation.
Than just feeding the mold.
Yeah. Like that was the gag, right? And so there was one where it was a chicken dish. I don't know what it was. I don't remember. I think maybe chicken and dumplings. And one of the challenges was to swap everyone's ingredients for different forms of chicken. And so one was like a chicken carcass with like barely any meat left on it. One was like ground chicken, not useful for whatever the dish was. And one was canned chicken, which is like notoriously salty and disgusting. Yeah. And Alton was like, whoever gets this canned chicken is going home. Like, I want you guys to know this. Like, this is so fucking disgusting that like the judges are not going to like it, whatever you do to it. And then the judge was like, this dish is my favorite. This is the winner of the round.
The canned chicken?
The canned chicken. And she had no idea she was eating it. It was like, crazy. Yeah. There was one, my favorite episode was they had this guy on there who didn't speak English very well. And the challenge was to make biscuit and gravy. And he made brisket and gravy. And he was like, oh, I thought Alton said brisket and gravy. And I was really confused because I've never heard of that. And the judge was like, this is really good. I like this. This is the winner. And Alton was like, this isn't even the challenge. Like, what?
That's so funny.
And then there's like episodes, my favorite sabotage, and it happens every single time. They do a dish where like a seasoning is like key. So like something where you need like basil, something where you need like salt, something where you need salt and everything, but like salt is a like component of it, right?
Yeah.
And he takes everyone's salt away and gives them like substitutes, right? And there's always the one substitute, which is just you can have your salt back. So obviously the person that wins the auction takes that back without fail every single time. The judge is always like, this needs more salt. And then Alton gets so mad. There was one time when that happened and Alton got so mad that he literally threw the person's dish away. Like as the judge turned to walk to the next station, he was like, you had the only salt.
The early 2000s reality shows were fucking insane. They can't remember
hell.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of it, but there was one show where they would like lock people into a torture chamber essentially, like it was a big metal box.
Is it Fear Factor?
No.
With Joe Rogan? The Joe Rogan Experience?
It was not Fear Factor. This was like, it's because Fear Factor did different shit, but this whole show was just this big metal box that they would lock people in. They would make it hella hot inside, like I'm talking 150 degrees Fahrenheit, and then they would slam it down to like -20, and then they would just keep like shaking it and like playing loud sounds into it, and however long you lasted in the box was like how much money you got. And
how long do you think you'd last?
How long would I last in there? Dude, the second it gets hot, I'm fucking done.
That's like what is the thing the iron bowl? Is that what the torture method we talked about? Oh, the torture one was? Where you put them in there and you steam them alive?
Yeah. No, I could not fucking do that. But they eventually had to stop after a couple episodes because there was like, their legal team got involved and they're like, we're going to fucking kill somebody. We need to stop the show. There was another show hosted by Mark Wahlberg. Not that one.
It was a different Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah.
Don't ask the other Mark Wahlberg where he was in the 80s. Don't ask why he did some jail time.
But his whole show was about like he would bring people on and then there would be like a PI that goes into their life and like figures out a bunch of like shit about them, and then he would bring them on. He would sit them down in front of like their family, their wives, husbands, fucking children, whatever, and he would ask them increasingly personal questions. And there's one episode that stands out about this show.
Sounds like a top secret clearance method.
Kind of, yeah. It started pretty tame. It's just like, oh, have you ever like gotten a ticket? Have you ever stole something? It eventually builds up to this guy being like, were you still in love with your ex on your wedding day?
Oh, God.
And then the girl in front of her husband was like, yes, because they had the option to like skip the question or just like leave and take the money, because each question that you answer truthfully will give you more money.
A skip is an omission.
Yeah, well, no,
is it not?
It wasn't. Like, I think they had one skip.
Wait. Hold on. If I ask you, are you still in love with your ex? Yes or no? And you say, I'd like to skip the question.
Yeah, that's like, kind of, yeah.
Like, come on.
Yeah. They had a skip. They at any point could just stop and take the money that they earned. If they told a lie, they would lose all of the money they got up until then. They asked them all of these questions before and like had them hooked up to a polygraph too.
Okay, so that's how they knew that they were lying as a polygraph.
So
famously unreliable.
He asks the lady that's on there, were you still in love with your ex on your wedding day, in front of her husband and her parents. And the host is like, you can just take the money and leave. Like, you don't have to answer this. And the lady was there and she was like, yes. And then it dings true. And then everybody in the crowd was like, woo, yeah. The husband is sitting there just like defeated. The next question is,
how much money was this for? Like,
I think like the same, like $1 million.
$600,000 after tax. I could do a lot with that. Okay.
Yeah. Before the housing market crash, of course.
What was the
next question was, if your ex was here right now, would you leave your husband for him? And Mark Wahlberg, not that one, is just sitting there like, please don't answer this. Like, I feel uncomfortable asking you these questions. This is a tense situation. Just leave, take the money, and go. And she's sitting there and she's like, yes. Ding, truth. Everybody loses their fucking minds again. And he's like, Mark Wahlberg is like, all right, I need to like stop, but my producers are telling me to keep going. We have your ex here.
Oh my
And
God.
he walks out. He has the same name as her husband. And everyone is like, whoa, whoa. It was just fucking ridiculous. They had another one where it was like a guy this time, and like the same thing. It starts off light. It's like, oh, have you ever been caught stealing? Like, have you ever told a lie? And he's, yes, ding, ding, more money, more money. The question they ask him is like, did you gamble away your daughter's college fund? And his daughter is in the crowd.
Jesus.
He says, yes. Ding. Everyone loses their fucking minds. He gets more money.
I mean, you could earn back the college fund.
It's just I forget the name of the show. I wish I knew it, but the first few episodes are free on YouTube because it's just like such an old show. Yeah,
I'm gonna look it up.
Both of these episodes that I've talked about are free on YouTube, and it is just an insane show to watch.
It's just, I don't know. Even like today, so the other day, there's a current season of Survivor airing. And there was like a promo for the episode that aired this week, and Jeff was like crying, and he was like, "Oh, this has never happened before."
Did you see him eat shit?
Yes.
That was hella funny. I saw that clip on Twitter.
But I liked the video of the promo from CBS, and then my TikTok algorithm went just crazy.
Yeah.
And was like, here's everything Survivor. And I was like, okay, let's calm it down. But I spent a good 2 hours on like Wednesday watching like Survivor clips, and there's this challenge where they're on like a platform and they strap 3 people to a wheel. Like, you know, the dart, like, you know, when you like throw knives at people, like that, right? But it's one big wheel, and they strap 3 people, one wheel here and one wheel here, because it's 2 teams, and they spin them, and at the bottom there's a tank of water, and their job is to get a mouthful of water as they go down, and as they come up, there is like a little drain about that big that they have to spit the water into and fill up another bucket as they are like spit, and it doesn't stop. It just keeps going.
Just like a motorized wheel.
No,
how fast are they
your
going?
Teammates have to spin you.
So it's going as fast as those fuckers can spin.
Yeah, and I'm just like, what is this? Like,
dude,
crazy.
Survivor has been going on for so long.
48 seasons.
It's insane.
We're almost on season 50. There's another challenge that they do. I think you've seen this one. It's the one where they just put them in the water and then put like a grate above their head, and they just have to stay above water and breathe, and they just sit there, and the challenge sometimes goes on for like 10 hours.
Yeah.
But they're in the ocean.
Yeah.
And that grate is stationary.
Oh, yeah.
So the tide comes in and out.
Oh.
Like, it's an insane, like, I just, things like Fear Factor. Things like, do you remember Silent Library? Apparently people don't remember.
Oh my God, Silent Library is so funny. I never watched it growing up, but I see clips of it all the time on TikTok.
I remember watching it.
I know there's a Japanese version, and then us Ameriboos stole it, and we made our own version. The Japanese version is so fucking good.
Have you watched any of the American versions?
I've seen like a couple of it, but I just love the Japanese one so much more.
It's just like the torture that people subject themselves to for like what isn't a lot of money is crazy. Like, I don't know, even like going on The Price is Right, you win a new car, you still got to pay sales tax on that shit. Yeah. So it's like,
dude, the most recent Silent Library clip I've seen, the thing was like, I forget what it was called. I'm just gonna say it was called Gumming It, right? Some old guy came out, took out his dentures, and then with his gums just started biting on someone's ear that was like, that drew the fucking punishment card, and everybody was fucking dying laughing, and this guy's trying not to throw up because of how bad the old man breath smells.
Oh yeah, old people got the crud in the like corners of their mouth.
Silent Library is so fucking good. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. Watch the Japanese version. Absolutely. You don't need to understand what they're saying. You can tell.
You can just see what's happening
by their reactions. Yeah.
What reality show, like, if you had to go on one, like, what would you go on?
a reality show. My mind immediately jumped to game shows, and I was going to say
You
Wheel
could
of
do game
Fortune.
shows. You could do game shows. You'd go on. Oh, have you
I think I'll
seen?
bang at
Have
Wheel
you
of Fortune.
seen the clips from Wheel of Fortune where what's Pat
Sajak?
Sajak gets hella pissed at people.
Like his little Scooby Doo impression.
No, where he gets pissed at people. Like, because they're like stupid.
No.
Yeah, he'll be like.
I mean, I've seen him get disappointed, but I haven't seen him get pissed off.
Well, yeah, it's like pissed, disappointed. There's that. I would like to say Jeopardy because I feel like I'm good at Jeopardy, but I feel like I would go on and just bomb.
Jeopardy is like I feel like Jeopardy is just super niche information, even if it's about something that's
Jeopardy
culturally
is for the people
relevant.
who got the score that you got last week on your test.
Yeah.
If I had to go on a game show, like to win money on a game show, I would probably do Family Feud. No, actually, I wouldn't do Family Feud. If I could get 4 good people to go with me, but if I get stupid people who give stupid answers, I'll probably fight them on stage.
So you don't want the people that are like giving cum as an answer and making Steve Harvey lose
that's the whole thing.
mind.
It never was like that, and then they put Steve Harvey on, and now it's like they make questions where it's like, we asked 100 women, what is the favorite way for your nipples to be played with? And then Steve is like, don't say it, and it's like, come on my titties,
Car
Steve.
battery.
Yeah, it's like, come on my titties, Steve. And he's like, yeah, nasty people. And it's like, you read the question, dude. Like, no, I would say Family Feud. If I can get 4 good people to come with me, I could probably hold my own at Jeopardy. I don't like Wheel of Fortune. It's boring to me. I'd get bored. I'd be like, can we speed this up?
I think I could bang Wheel of Fortune.
I
know
could
that
probably
shit
win,
like
but,
first, second letter on the board. I got
like
that shit.
My favorite clip from Family Guy is when he's on Wheel of Fortune, and they're like, okay, you get to play the what is the jackpot called?
Like the
Fast
one
Money?
at the end.
Is that what it's called? Fast? No, that's Wheel of Fortune. No, it's Jeopardy. No, fuck. Family Feud. The one at the end, right? Where it's just one person.
Yeah, RSDLNE. And then you got to pick 3 consonants and a vowel.
Yeah, and he's like, Q, another Q, the bat symbol, and a question mark. And then he guesses it, and then he wins like $75,000. Like one of my favorite Family Guy moments. Game show.
Have you seen the South Park Wheel of Fortune?
South Park hurts my head to watch. It gives me migraines.
It's like same situation. Fucking, I think it's Stan's dad is the last guy up. The category is people who annoy you. He has N blank GG, the rest of the word, and he says the word. It's not that word. Second letter's an A, but
they said it on TV.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, I think game show, probably Jeopardy. I'd probably do best at.
Okay. Now back to what you were saying, reality show.
Like a competition show.
I don't know a whole lot of reality shows. I'm going to be honest. I don't watch a lot of reality TV.
Sean has tried to convince me to do MasterChef. Like actually try out for it.
Okay.
I feel like I could get on, but the issue here is that I have seen people who don't eat meat compete on that show, and they struggle a lot because production doesn't cater to that.
Yeah.
They will like straight up tell you, no, you're making a steak. You know? And so like, I'm sure if I told them like, oh, I'm allergic to shellfish, which I am, like they probably would try and avoid making me cook shellfish. But there have also been contestants that like have had allergies to certain things, and they just wear gloves and like a mask while they cook.
Okay.
So I feel like I could do okay on MasterChef, but I don't know. Probably a cooking show. I definitely wouldn't do Survivor.
Yeah.
I just can't do Survivor. Now they have Deal or No Deal Island.
Deal or No Deal Island.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Have you ever watched The Challenge?
No.
I would never step foot. First of all, the host looks creepy. That's all I'm gonna say. He scares me. He looks like he does I think he is a BMXer, actually.
Okay.
I don't understand the format at all because it's like all these people that know each other from past seasons of The Challenge, and I'm like, where?
So what was season 1 like?
Yeah, and so you have to be on TV. It's another one of those like you have to have like a portfolio. to get on. So like they have like people from Teen Mom on there sometimes. It's very interesting. But like it's like crazy challenges. Like there's one I remember where they were on like a skyscraper, and they had like the cranes. So they had like 2 cranes like going off, and then it was like monkey bars, or like you had to like swing and like salmon ladders.
Yeah,
it's like a salmon ladder but horizontal. Okay. And they're obviously like on harnesses and stuff, but like if you fall like 20 stories before it catches you. Yeah. And so it's like it's just like stuff like that. And then they have like at the end they have like elimination challenges, but it's just like every season I've seen Sean watch is like different and different rules, and I'm like, how do you like keep up the strategy? Yeah. And there's like one where it's just them running down a hallway and trying to like get to the other side to get a flag. And it just turns kind of into, hey, let's ram our heads into each other. Like it's very weird. I was about to say it's very weird. I don't understand it. That and Big Brother, I watched one season. I don't like Big Brother. It's always the worst fucking people on that show. I watched it when it started coming out, and I just fucking hated it. There's 3 key moments from Big Brother that I remember. The one with David Bowie's wife or ex-wife when she was filming when he died. And so there's like, it's Big Brother UK. And so production pulls her aside and is like, hey, we have to tell you your ex-husband passed away. And so she's like, okay, like, thank you for telling me, whatever. Yeah. And so she goes up to one of the contestants and she's like, I have to tell you something. David died. There's a contestant named David. And so everyone starts freaking out. They're like, what happened to David? And she's like, guys, my husband, David Bowie, died, which is like kind of like arguably worse because it's like David Bowie. Yeah. The other one I remember is Big Brother US when they were filming during the election of 2016. And so they were like, oh, there's something that happened while you guys were filming. The next president of the United States, and everyone like was under the impression it was going to be Hillary, and they're like Donald Trump, and everyone started freaking out. Like not like a whoa, like literally like panicking like on screen. And then of course when Ariana Grande's brother was on there. That's the one season I've watched full way through. Yeah. And Big Brother spawned fucking Andrew Tate too. Big Brother UK. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm cool with that show. But if I had time for like training and shit, I think I would go on American Ninja Warrior. I've wanted to try it. Yeah. There is places that have the course. Like they tour the course and you can go do it. The MMA place I used to go to in Fairfield when I worked at that Target out there had like half the time it was an MMA gym, half the time it was like training for American Ninja Warrior shit. Okay, so I think things like game shows obviously are pretty like straightforward. I don't think I have to do like a whole lot. You wouldn't have to do a whole lot to get me on there because one, you get an appearance fee no matter what. Yeah. You're getting a few $1,000s. You get it, as long as you're there. Like if you're on Jeopardy, you're a tournament. Yeah. And so like you just keep filming back to back, but they film like multiple episodes in a day. Yeah. But like you get a free trip to wherever it's shot, whatever. But cooking shows are kind of the same. But like when we talk about shows like Survivor or like Big Brother or The Challenge, stuff like that, how much money would you have to get like to win for you to want to actually like seriously go on it? It would have to be a substantial amount of generational wealth accounting for inflation in 50 years. Okay. Like in 50 years, I still want my next 50 years to be set up. Yeah. I don't think that any amount of money could get me on Survivor. I feel like I would do it, but I would probably like same thing with American Ninja Warrior. I would need to like train beforehand. But because I it's like all of the fucking stamina challenges. Like that's so that you get out there and you're not eating. So no matter how much training you have, unless you're like bulking up, it's really not going to do you a whole lot. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like I need like some fucking shit to burn through. Because like the stamina challenges, some of them where it's just like, oh, you have to stand on this tiny piece of wood. Like, okay, sure. But then the other ones where it's like, oh, you need to hang from this thing. That's the part where I'm like, okay, I need to like train for that. Yeah, they had one where they literally just hung from like monkey bars, and that was the challenge. And like people were doing it for like hours, and I was like, that's crazy, they're there for like fucking 5 hours, and I'm like, hell no. I can push 45 minutes. Just hanging?
Yeah.
Oh. Maybe. I at the gym sometimes when my back is feeling a little tense, I'll go hang from the monkey bars just to kind of let my back like decompress. And I'm like, oh, I'll do it for a minute. And after like a while, I'm like, okay, we have to be at a minute. It's like 5 seconds has passed.
Yeah. No, it fucking sucks, but like I'm saying, I need that training before with that training, I can push like 45 minutes.
I think the mental ones would probably be the hardest. Like where they have you do
the
like
puzzles
the puzzles.
And shit?
Yeah, because like
I feel like all the puzzles are pretty easy on Survivor. But granted, I'm not starved and fucking
you're not,
sunburned.
and you're not also they're not sleeping. Like
I would sleep. I would have no problem sleeping on an island.
Really?
Yeah.
With everything crawling all over you?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Little bugs cuddling me.
I don't.
I need to blow my nose. Phil, about Survivor.
I don't watch Survivor. My favorite Survivor player, to everyone's detriment, is Russell. I went and saw. He just disappeared into the void.
I'm going over here.
Guys, if you haven't seen Black Bag, it is a Steven Soderbergh film that just came out earlier this month in March. It is one of the most erotic movies I have ever seen in my life, and there's absolutely zero sex scenes in it. And it's also a spy thriller, and there's absolutely zero there's one gunshot in the entire movie, and one explosion. But it is one of the best movies I've seen in a long time. It's crazy what the director of Magic Mike is putting out. He's back from the void, but he's not back on screen. But yeah, go see Black Bag or stream it when it comes back.
God damn, bro.
You good?
No, I have a sinus infection.
I know. But like, are you good now to continue? Is what I'm asking.
Oh yeah.
Are you good in general? Jesus. Oh God.
Dude, I am fucking hungry. I'm excited for that pizza.
We are getting Costco pizza, which has gone.
Getting Costco pizza, dude. Costco workers make fucking more than I do. Like just a standard entry level cashier make more than I do now.
Yeah.
I'm going to my boss. I'm gonna be like, hey, when's the next time I get a raise? And then if it's soon or not soon, either way, I'm going to be like, okay, next time I get a raise, I need an additional $10 an hour, or I am leaving and working at Costco.
You don't want to work. Oh, you do want to work at Costco, but my aunt works at Costco, and she's like, it's a love-hate relationship. Because they're very like strict, but like it's like I'm gonna tell you this right now.
I'll wear your stupid little vest and scan your dumbass chicken.
This is the whole thing. Scan my shirt. Don't scan my. I don't want lasers on my chicken.
I don't want lasers on my chicken. Put them through my chest.
I will say this: where I worked with you before I went to the job that I have now for the next 72 hours until I'm officially not employed with them anymore. It is a culture shock to go to a job that takes itself very seriously.
Oh yeah, no,
because like
my job is not serious at all.
Well, that's the whole thing. So okay, so for those of you who don't know, Bodhi and I used to work together. My day, this is what my day looked like. I'm gonna run through it real quick. I'd wake up at 6 a.m. I would clock on my phone, come out to my kitchen and like do some work on my laptop, clear out some reports, and then I would take my dog on a 45-minute walk. Still on the clock. I clock on at 6 a.m. Come home, make my bed, get Sean out the door with his lunch, and then shower myself, roll out of my house at about 8:30, roll into the office about 9, do work for like 2 hours, and then sit there and pretend to do work for 2 more hours, and then leave at 1 to go to the gym. And then come home, check emails. Like I was available. It's not like I was like not doing shit, but like I was able to be like completely flexible like that. To the point where like I went to Colorado for Thanksgiving one year and didn't take any time off just because I was like, if we're not doing anything that like requires me to be away from my phone, I would rather just stay clocked on and say I'm available. And I would stay clocked on and available from 6 a.m. to 4 p.m. every single day. Completely accessible. Right. My job that I have now is like super, super strict. Like they are like 4 p.m. hits, you need to be done working. We do not want to see a single keystroke after 4 p.m. Which is reasonable, right? Like it's like, it sounds like a nice like work-life balance thing. But like my boss, so like I said, I quit. My boss basically was like, yeah, I don't. So I have two bosses basically. One of them is on leave right now. So like I didn't even tell her I was quitting. My other boss was like, I don't work in the office on Fridays, so I have to come to the office now on Friday to like offboard you essentially, even though
making it your problem.
Yeah. And so he was like, I don't work in the office on Fridays, so I don't want to be here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait until traffic dies down in the morning, and then I'm going to come in and I'm going to offboard you. It's going to take like 10 minutes, and then I'm just going to let you go home. And you could just have, 4 to 6 hours, whatever time he comes in, of free pay essentially. Like, and I was like, okay, cool. Like, that's fine. And we do that sometimes when it's like a 3-day weekend. They will like tell us at like 1 p.m. like, hey, just pack up and just head out. But he like said that. And then Thursday we were having like a lunch, like a going away lunch for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, hey, just want to know, like, do I need to bring a lunch tomorrow? Because you told me you were going to come in by like 12. And he was like, oh, we'll talk later, because we were like in a big group. And then he pulls me into his office and he was like, yeah, so I'm going to try and do it, but I just got to make sure my bosses aren't here. And I was like, dude, I don't care if I have to work a full day. Like, just I just don't want to bring a lunch if I don't have to. So then he pulls me back in a little bit later and he was like, okay, yeah. He was like, I'm probably going to come in around 12, and just between you and me, like, you have a doctor's appointment that you have to get to at 1, which is why I'm letting you go at 12, and you made up hours. And I was like, dude, I do not care if I have to work a full day.
I'm fucking leaving this place.
Yeah. And like, that's the whole thing, is like the job just takes itself so goddamn seriously. Like, yeah. Like, so we have a grace period. Of the official policy of the place that I work at is 5 minutes for being late. My boss was like, freeways are torn to shit, 15 minutes. Just be signed on within 15 minutes of your shift. And then if you're a little bit late, you have all week to make it up. You just have to do it in the same week. Yeah. And you don't have to log it as making it up. You just let me know. So like, for example, I start at 7:30. If I get there like 7:55 one day, stay 10 minutes on a day I work from home. 10 minutes. Just sit there for 10 minutes and make sure my mouse is like showing that I'm active. Yeah. So it's like not a huge thing, right? But like, it just takes itself so goddamn seriously, and I'm like,
yeah, no, that's the thing I do like about this job. Is I do pretty much similar things. I wake up at like 6:30. I'll clock in. I'll respond to emails, and then it's between 7:30 and 8. I usually leave my apartment, and then I'm there till like 2:30, 3. And then I come home, and then it's just more responding to emails and taking calls from inspectors until 5. Yeah.
Well, that's the whole thing. So my boss told me the other day that his classification is done in a way where they don't get paid overtime. So he's a salaried employee. Technically, I'm a salaried employee, but they log it hourly. It's very, very stupid.
Okay.
It's because I get overtime.
Okay.
So essentially, like, I am not supposed. So, for example, you know how when you punch in and punch out, right? So like, you punch in and punch out.
Yeah.
So if you punch in at 6:33 and then you're like, okay, I'm done working at 4:03, you're getting 10 hours and 6 minutes of pay.
Yeah.
I'm not supposed to do that. I'm supposed to clock in at 7:30 and be out by 4 every single day. Very like rigid.
Okay.
And then I can do overtime. So I am getting the same exact amount of pay each month plus my overtime. My boss is not scheduled for overtime, or doesn't allow to do overtime, so he is salaried, and he only has to work 5 hours a day.
Is he like a 7-day-a-week worker, or?
So essentially, it is your job needs to get done.
Oh.
So you have all these assignments, whatever we assign you to do, blah 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 blah. Do those assignments, but you only have to work 5 hours a day if you want. Okay. So it's kind of like, if you're only working 5 hours a day and your job's not getting done, then that's going to be probably an issue when it comes to like our upper management, like our upper management.
Yeah, the governor.
But like, he was like, yeah, I clock in on like or he was like, I log in on the weekends and just, do some stuff, respond to emails, whatever. Like my other boss that's on leave, she responds to emails. She's on leave right now and she's responding to emails, which is like not great, but like, yeah, that's her prerogative. Like, she's not forced to do that. No one's expecting that of her, but like, she will like take calls from us if we want while she's on leave. And I'm like, I literally have not texted her and told her like I'm quitting, because like, I was like, I refuse to talk to you while you were on vacation. Like, you are, like, I don't want that from you. So I'm not going to do that to you.
Yeah, I'm the same fucking way. If I am not clocked in, like if it is 5 o'clock, I clock out. Call I've been waiting for all day comes in at 5:01.
Nope.
Guess I'm gonna try again tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like I will not do any work that I am not being paid for, except for this, I guess.
Well, eventually. Eventually. But yeah, so I was like, damn, I need to get in that classification because I spend 90% of my day reading.
Mm-hmm.
So I could work for 5 hours, clock off, and go to the gym.
Yeah.
Get paid to go to the gym.
Yeah, it is nice getting paid going to the gym.
But I am in a union, so I don't get to negotiate my own raises, which is kind of shitty. I'm not trying to speak down on unions. I'm a big union guy.
Mm-hmm. Do you have like locked in raises that you get every year? Is it like percentage? Is it dollar amount?
It's percentage over a course of the contract.
Okay.
So what they will do is, so for example, I actually just switched unions, or I switched units because I got a promotion. That's like why I'm leaving my job.
Uh-huh.
Still working in the same entity. I can't say who I work for without slapping a fucking label on this show, so I'm not going to say that. But
he's a stock trader.
What I can say is that in my current job, I cannot legally disclose what I do, even if I were to say who I worked for. It's not like I'll go to jail, but it's like a security clearance kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that should tell you all you need to know about the type of entity that I work for. I'm not leaving the sector that I work in, going to a new entity, but I'm also getting a higher pay raise, and the classification that I do exists in all departments throughout this entity that I work for. And so it's a new unit. I'm in the same bargaining unit as my current boss is, but just not the same like work classification. So I think they got 8% raise with this contract.
Okay.
But the contract is like 3 years, I want to say, or two years.
Oh, so you get that 8% over 2 years?
Correct.
That's fucking ass.
Yeah. Well, so it's 8% over 2 years, but you also every single year get a cost of living adjustment.
Okay. So I guess that makes it better.
So what they'll do is they'll basically say like, oh, like the average inflation over the last fiscal year was, 2%, which right now it's at like 2.3, I think, or 2.2. So like this year in July, I will get a cost of living adjustment of 2%.
Yeah.
And then in September, in September, I will get my merit raise, which is the contract raise.
Okay.
And that's basically like as long as I am in like good standing as far as like work review goes. So there's that, which is nice. But we also have like the union that we have is very interesting. There's positives and negatives about it. It's free. It's not, and most unions aren't free because they're private sector. I am not the private sector, which is why it is free. But our union gets super fucking good healthcare. Like, I mean, so I have Kaiser. If you're from California, you know that Kaiser is, I mean, all healthcare is ass. Let's not beat around the bush there, but Kaiser is particularly ass.
Yeah, I fucking hate Kaiser. I had Kaiser for a little bit with Target, and I think I went to the doctor's just for like a COVID shot or something. And it was like one of the worst experiences I ever had. The people there didn't know anything that they were doing.
Well, the thing is I like Kaiser. The reason that I did Kaiser is because I was on Kaiser with my parents, and then I got kicked off because I turned 26. So I went 3 months where I was like on another health insurance, but then I got into my current role, which offers Kaiser. And so I was like, I don't want to like do like a whole nother setup. Plus I take prep, which requires like a lot of consultations to get. You have to jump through a lot of hurdles to get on it. And I just didn't want to do that again. So I was like, I just kind of want to just, like I could get Sutter, and this is the whole thing. So
that makes sense,
Kaiser is, I think, like $940 a month. but my job pays $880. So I pay like $60 a month for my health insurance.
Okay.
Out of my check. I don't even see the money, obviously, right?
Yeah.
But it's such good, like the plans that we have, I literally have never paid a penny.
You get
to
like
Kaiser.
free ambulances and shit.
Like I'm not like PrEP free, but that's part of the federal government. But even if that goes away, because it probably is going to go away, it's probably still going to be covered in California. But under my insurance, it's free. I pinched a nerve in my back. I'm on anti-inflammatories, free. I get blood tests for PrEP every 3 months and STI screenings every 3 months for PrEP.
What's the fucking... I know at some point it transitioned from being called an STD to an STI, but like fucking why?
Well, because like a lot of things are like sexually transmitted, right? But not everything is like
the
a
ST
disease.
is
So
gonna
like,
stay the same.
so for example, like chlamydia, right? Chlamydia is literally the exact same thing as a UTI. It is treated the exact same way. The only difference is when you get an STI, they have to report it to your current living situation's health, like your county health board.
Okay.
So if you get chlamydia, right, and you're like, hey, I live in Sacramento County, they're going to call the Sacramento County Health Authority and say, we have to report a case of chlamydia.
Like, hey, Gavin Newsom, this guy got the clap.
Yeah. But chlamydia is, again, you literally, all you do for a UTI and chlamydia is you go in and they give you an extra strength, I think it's an antibiotic.
Yeah.
You just have to take it in front with a UTI, they just give it to you, right? With chlamydia, you take it in front of the pharmacist. You have to show that you're like not spreading that shit, right? Because you could, I guess, theoretically catch a UTI, but like it's not like it's not the same. Treated the same way. But then you have things like herpes, which are uncurable, right? So that's like a lifelong thing. And then you have things like HIV, which is treatable, and you can get to a point of being untransmittable and undetectable, meaning you can't detect it in your blood and you can't pass it on to someone else even though you have it. But AIDS, which spawns from HIV, is like very deadly, obviously, right?
Yeah.
So all of these things were lumped into STDs, but disease kind of carries like a pretty big stigma, whereas like an infection is like, oh,
so that's why we changed it from D to I. We just didn't like saying the word disease.
It's very much the same way that like people started like saying like unhoused versus homeless, because it's, well, there is an actual like distinction. Homeless is still like a proper term, but like anyone that is homeless, or wait, let me think about this because I always get this backwards. Anyone that is,
I mean, I understand the difference in like
unhoused is homeless, but not everyone that is homeless is unhoused, right?
Yeah, I understand saying like unhoused instead of homeless or whatever, just because of the connotation of the word. But like, if you have an STD, you should feel bad about it.
No, you shouldn't.
Like, you should want to like.
Well, you should
feel like you should not want to like give that to other people.
No,
you should know that it's a bad thing, I guess, is a better way of putting it.
I wouldn't say it's a bad thing. I would say it's a serious matter, because that's the reason that they spread is because people feel that way. Right? People get embarrassed to like be like, oh, I got chlamydia, but chlamydia is super common. It is like 50% of people get chlamydia in their lifetime.
I mean, but
if you're looked down about it, instead of being like, oh, this is super treatable, go get like, literally just go get the antibiotic. It's like, it's the exact same reason that the AIDS epidemic blew up, right? Because it was treated as like this thing that was like taboo to talk about. It's like, it's just sex education. It treats it as something more routine so that people have a better connotation and understanding of it. Because like disease, if I tell you, you have like disease, you're like, oh shit, like this is like bad. But if I'm like, oh, you have like, what if I told you had a sinus disease right now?
I would have probably taken the Mucinex
versus a sinus infection.
Yeah.
Right, because
so that's what I'm saying. Call them a disease so people get it treated, and they don't fuck other people and spread it.
Works. People, that's how people think. People are like very averse to being talked down to. So STI is like a more like routine term. It helps promote like, oh, this is something I can just go get treated. Not necessarily. They will tell you. Trust me, when you go and you get STI screenings. If you get an STI and you have to go get treatment for it, they like go over with you like, you need to be practicing safe sex. You need to make sure that you urinate after sex. You need to like, you know.
But my thing is, if someone tells me I have a disease versus if someone tells me I have an infection, if they tell me I have a disease, I'm going to take it more seriously.
But chlamydia is not a disease, though. It's just an infection. It literally is that.
Yeah.
It's just, it's the same thing as COVID.
Yeah,
like,
if it is just an infection, whatever. But like, if you tell me I have a disease, I'm going to take it more seriously than if you tell me I have an infection, no matter if it's a disease or an infection or what.
I think everyone connotates disease as more
like serious.
But the problem is that the term STD was villainized. Like, it was like literally connotated with like negativity and like stigma. And so
I don't think they're things we should like feel good about, though.
No, you shouldn't be like, got an STD. But like, you shouldn't feel like embarrassed by it, because it happens. Like, if I get chlamydia, it's not because it just spawned in my body. I got chlamydia because I had sex with someone that had chlamydia. That's not my fault.
No, it's not your fault. It's that other person's fault. And I'm pretty sure that's like a prosecutable crime.
Well, again, if you don't know you have it, that's the thing, right? There's just a million different ways. And that's the reason why is like, you shouldn't feel great about getting it, but you shouldn't feel like you can't talk about it. It's the same way that like, when it honestly is a conservative thing, because like, you know how like with like sex ed, like conservatives don't want like sex ed in classes. You should be having sex education with kids as early as like kindergarten, quite frankly. But you don't have to be like, this is sex, but you can teach things like consent. You can teach things like, say this, my niece, her parents, and again, they can raise their daughter however they want, but I have told them like, please stop calling her vagina like a hoo-ha or whatever. Like, don't call it, like, it is a vagina. Because if something ever happens to her and they put her on a witness stand and they say, where did that person touch you? And she says, my hoo-ha, that's a defense. That's a loophole in the defense. If a kid cannot identify their own anatomy, that's an unreliable witness to a crime.
I feel like any kid is just an unreliable witness.
Well, it is. They are. But I know that's a morbid thing to think about. But also, even if I ask you like, oh, you know, where does it hurt? And you can't describe to me where it hurts. You can't give me that like term, like your kid doesn't need to know like, oh, this is my ulna. My ulna hurts, which is your bone, the big bone in your arm, your forearm, right? But like, your kid should know that like they have a penis and 2 testicles or a vagina. Like, they should know their anatomy. Yeah. And that's sex education, because it's a sex organ.
If something hurts on a child, I'm not going to say, hey, describe to me the location where your pain is. I'm going to say, hey, point to where it hurts. Right. Because I know kids aren't going to know terms like that.
Again,
I don't expect the kids to know terms like that.
But kids...
And as far as like the whole like start sex education in kindergarten thing goes, I think that's a bit extreme. Teaching consent, I feel like, is more just teaching manners. Like, yeah, teach manners. It's okay to ask for permission for things, but you don't need to be like, hey, you need to make sure it's okay before you go in. Like,
no, it's not about like consent as far as like sexual acts. It's consent as a concept, right?
Yeah, so just like teach them manners.
Well, there's that. So there's like I've seen people
snot again.
Do you need to go blow your nose?
No, I'll tank it.
Okay. So there's like things where like parents will like be like, okay, what we're gonna do is I'm gonna tickle you, and when you say stop, I'll stop, and then you tickle, and then when they say stop, you make a big deal of like throwing your hands back and being like, I'm stopping. And that teaches kids that when they say don't touch me or stop, that another person should stop.
Yeah.
And then it's like math, right? Because with math, they don't just teach you calculus, right? You have to learn addition. And then after you learn addition, you learn subtraction. And then after you learn subtraction, you learn multiplication. And then you learn division. And then you learn, it all builds, right? Yeah. So, you teach your kids, if someone wants to hug you, if one of your friends wants to hug you, they should ask you. They should never come up and just invade your personal space. Okay, that's when they're 5 through whatever. Okay, now that you're going through puberty and you're like, of age where like sexual acts might be, where I feel like I have to give you the sex talk.
Mm-hmm.
You know how I told people, you know how we always told you, your friends should always ask to give you a hug? Anytime that you're doing sexual things, the person that you're engaged with should do the same thing. You should always ask for permission.
Okay.
Like it just builds, right? And so,
did you ever have your parents like sit you down and be like, so this is what fucking is?
No.
I didn't either.
They gave me a book.
They didn't even do that. They just didn't tell me anything.
They just assumed you knew.
I don't know if I got caught watching porn when I was in like middle school. So I guess I kind of gave the sex talk to myself, but
they didn't. What did they say when you got caught watching porn?
They said, "How fucking dare you?" And they beat me.
They beat you?
Yeah.
That's not great. Okay. Drama.
Yeah. No, yeah. They never like taught me anything. I had to kind of absorb it from culture.
Yeah, I mean, they gave me a book, but the book was like a puberty book. It wasn't a sex book.
It was like your bones are gonna start hurting.
It was like your dick's gonna grow, you're gonna grow hair in your armpits and just all over your body, blah 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 blah. And it was also like a boy and girl one, so it was like you can also learn about girls. And I was like,
it's just the same thing but written in cursive.
Little did I know this was useless to me.
Well, I don't know. You said you got pregnant.
Yeah.
So maybe that book did help.
Yeah, no, they didn't give me a sex talk. I think my dad maybe tried to, and I was like, I don't want to have this talk actually. but yeah, it's just all, it builds the consent thing, or like sex education is like, I mean, it's the same way. Like, did you had sex ed in 5th grade, right?
Yeah, I had a box of condoms thrown at my head.
In school?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
That's not how my sex education was.
Well, it wasn't by the teacher. It was by like some kid in the class. And we were having like sex education.
But we didn't even
And he had like a box of condoms and he just fucking threw it and it hit me in the head.
We didn't even learn about like actual sex in elementary school, sex education. It was more like, hey, so you're like 10, 11 years old. So you're like about to hit puberty. When you hit puberty, all your fucking testosterone's gonna kick in.
Oh no, yeah, we got the whole thing with the diagram of the labia and like an X-ray vision of testicles.
We got
and shit
that.
Like
they
that.
separated the boys and the girls, and they were like, "This is, the
we were
anatomy."
all in the same class.
Oh no, they split everyone up. But they didn't like say like, oh, like when a man and a woman like get together. Like they didn't do that. That was in 7th grade. That was in like 7th and 8th grade as we got that.
I don't know if I got any in middle school.
And
I know in high school we had to take that health class,
and that's where I got like the STD talk and everything like that.
Yeah,
and like consent.
But by that
stuff.
time, you like kind of already know that.
I mean,
at least I did.
It's like healthy to like look stuff up. I feel like a lot of people kind of just look stuff up.
Yeah,
I had a philosophy class. It was the bane of my fucking existence because we had a whole unit on porn in this philosophy
of porn.
The ethics of porn.
Okay.
And there was this one like ultra like radical feminist, and I consider myself a feminist, right? But it's the type of feminism that doesn't take into consideration intersectionality, like anything other than like the female experience.
Not she was like a rad femme.
Yeah, not like the trans female experience or the black female experience or the, it was the female experience.
Yeah.
And she was like, it is so harmful, blah, 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 blah. And people were like, well, what about gay porn?
Yeah.
Like, what about 2 men, doing porn? And she was like, all sex work is unethical. All porn is unethical. And people were like, well,
are you sure she just wasn't like a Mormon?
No, she wasn't. She was very like anarchist type of person.
An anarchist that's like all porn is unethical is insane.
Yeah, just one of those people. But like people were like, yeah, I don't know, like it helped me discover my sexuality. Yeah. Or like it helped me discover like stuff that I was very uncomfortable with or stuff that I am comfortable with, and
helped me figure out where the clit's at.
Yeah. And she was like, nope, unethical. And it was just like every like day we went into this class, I was just like, I'm trying to be supportive because I understand like it's a different perspective as like a female. So I really cannot put myself in your shoes, but like it's a real hard sell to say that like
I was about to say, you don't have to put yourself into people's shoes to just be like, yeah, you're wrong. Like,
well, yeah, the whole thing
there
was,
are sectors that are unethical, of course. But
yeah, well,
like,
that's the argument. But she
the
basically was like,
overall concept of it, I
Yeah.
would say, is more helpful than hurtful.
And
Not
that-
wrong with beating off.
well, that's another thing. Is she basically was like, masturbation is also like.
Okay, so there was a Catholic femcel in your philosophy class.
I don't think she was Catholic. She had like short hair and like tattoos all over her. I mean,
An anarchist Catholic femcel.
very niche intersection. This is what
We have
conservatives think.
discovered a new type of person.
This is what conservatives think that women are like, who are like, yeah, I don't like want to like get married and have 2 kids. Like when they just like are simple like, yeah, I don't really want to be like a mom. That's what they see. But yeah, it was very hard to get through that class. I was literally just like, okay, like we clearly disagree.
Yeah.
I don't really glorify porn like all that much.
Yeah.
I'm not like, yeah, fuck porn, like fucking porn. I love it. Just watch it 24/7. I'm not like an addict.
Yeah.
But like I also like I can see the benefit and I understand that like there's a lot of problematic shit that goes on with porn.
Yeah.
Or like Texas, they passed that law now where you have to
Yeah.
be 18 to enter Pornhub and everyone's like, oh, this is
No,
good.
they banned it entirely.
No.
You can't access Pornhub in
Okay,
Texas.
well, so there's some where they make you verify your age,
Yeah.
right? And so people are like, oh, this is good because it'll ensure that only adults are accessing porn. And I'm like, well,
Had
now
that.
the government has a definitive proof with your ID.
Oh, they're making them upload ID photos?
Yeah,
Okay.
that you are accessing a porn site. So when they make
okay.
porn illegal, they pull up your internet history and say like, here's this driver's license verified by photo, you know.
I mean, 4 years ago, fucking 6 months ago, I would have said if they enact a law, they can't go back and like retroactively arrest people that violated it before it was alive. But now I'm like, well, they could.
You can do anything you want. They're making people disappear.
Yeah, it's fucking insane.
Did you see the video of the Turkish exchange student?
Yeah. She was like walking to
Just
a class or something.
Wrote like an op-ed.
Yeah.
And
she got fucking black bagged.
The crazy
disappeared.
thing is there's a couple different perspectives that piss me off about this. Obviously, first and foremost, is like the whole fascism about it, right?
Yeah.
It's clearly fascism. Like, I'm so sorry. I consider myself to be a free speech absolutist. I know that like Republicans are like free speech absolutist. There is an argument about like how Germany polices like Nazi shit.
Uh-huh.
And sure.
Germany is also just run by a Nazi party right now, so.
No, they're run by like
The AFD that
no,
just
they're
got
not.
elected?
They got shut out.
I thought they just got elected into office.
They got the most percentage they have gotten since World War II.
Oh.
But they got, I think it's like their conservative party, which is like, I don't even know who a moderate Republican is nowadays, but like a centrist or something. Like they're like, you know how like when it's like a state's like tilt pink and it's like a gray with like a little bit of like droplet of pink in it.
Uh-huh.
They're like that. Like they're not like, you know, George Bush. They're not even like George Bush.
Okay.
They're barely even Mitt Romney. Like they're still conservative. They're still bad. I'm not trying to like save face
Well,
for
at
them.
the
but,
very
like,
least, the AFD is prominent in
well,
Germany.
that's the whole thing. So they thought the AFD was going to win, but it is like taboo to be part of the AFD there.
Yeah.
So even the conservatives were like, we'll just partner with like their Democrats because like we just don't like them enough to like their political system is holding strong enough to reject that shit rather than our political system where our moderate Republicans outnumber the extremist Republicans by like 3-1 and still partner with them for some fucking reason.
Yeah. And our
I mean, not for some. We know
progressive parties are capitulating to the conservatives and just becoming worse than they are.
Yeah. But fuck, I forgot what I was saying. Oh.
You were talking about how you should be able to say the N-word.
So I consider myself to be a free speech absolutist. Like,
Uh-huh.
I believe that the First Amendment, quite frankly, like quite plainly says, like, you can say whatever you want. I think that people should be allowed to go around saying whatever they want. But I'm going to tell you this right now. It's freedom to say whatever you want and freedom from the government from restricting you from saying whatever you want. It's not the freedom from your consequences of saying whatever you want. So if you come up to me and you call me a faggot, sorry, you're going to have to bleep that out. But you come up to me and call me that.
Yeah.
Like, that, great, you said it, but I also just knocked your teeth out. Yeah. And that's the consequences of your action, my man. Sorry. Yeah. And that's the whole thing, is like, it's not even like the argument being used is like, oh, you know, she was pro Hamas. And it's like, first of all, her article didn't even mention Hamas. Even if she was like, I literally hate the state of Israel, I want to completely blow it up in the name of Hamas. Okay. Sorry, this is America, free speech. Like, that's a wildly unpopular opinion. I don't think disliking Israel is a wildly unpopular opinion at this point in time. But like, you know, even people who were like, oh, like, I understand, like, I think most people are like, yeah, I understand, like, the frustration with, like, Al-Qaeda and, like, why 9/11 happened. But, like, it's still wildly unpopular to be like, I support Al-Qaeda. Like, you know, but even if, again, flag burning, I don't particularly, like, engage in that type of, you know, free speech. It's a piece of cloth to me. I don't really care. But like, I don't think I would ever do it. I don't really see any benefit in it for me personally. I don't care. Do it. I really don't. Like, do whatever you want. It's free speech. But like, a lot of people are like saying that, oh, this is Donald Trump enacting fascist policies, like with ICE and shit. But ICE has been around since the Bush administration.
Yeah,
this wasn't something that like, it wasn't
but
January.
It's never been fucking used to just kidnap people off the street.
No, it has.
Kidnap people who are gone through the whole legal process to be here.
Well, even then, but I think it's more so the goalposts are moving closer and closer, right? So, for example, and I can't tell you how I know this, but I can tell you it, that the state of California does not cooperate with ICE.
Yeah.
Right? Officially. That is the official policy of the state of California. What individual departments do is up to them, but it's not a great look. But what we will do is if someone has a criminal warrant. So, for example, if you get arrested, say, on suspicion of drunk driving, and you're an illegal immigrant, we will not tell ICE, like, you're an illegal immigrant, right? Because you have not been convicted. But if you get convicted of, like, a violent crime, then they might report you. And I do agree to some extent that there needs to be, like, some border control, obviously for safety reasons. And I think getting violent criminals out of the country is fine, but I don't care. I mean, care. Like,
if they were violent here, I'd rather them serve their time here.
Well, no, that's the whole thing. Yeah, there's
be punished like under the laws that they broke here, instead of going somewhere else and maybe getting like a lesser sentence, never been to, like, or like a harsher sentence, or
But it's like the goalposts. That's the whole thing. Is like the goalposts keep moving closer, right? So I will say that most likely, and I'd have to do a deeper dive into it, but I would be willing to bet that under Obama and under Biden, the only two Democratic presidents we've had in the last 25 years, the goalposts for the use of ICE was a little bit more further away. They were a little bit more strict with how they used it, but it was still very much used for the same reason, right?
I mean, I think since it's
all under the guise of the Patriot Act and the War on Terror.
Yeah, since its inception, even presidents like Obama and Biden, like each administration has an escalating use of ICE.
That's the thing, is like the only ethical like policy on ICE, in my opinion, is to abolish it. Just get rid of it.
Yeah.
It is absolutely, it is literally the Gestapo. I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
like,
no,
it really is under any administration, right? And that's what pisses me off, is a lot of like, you know, those, you know, like I'm with her Democrats are like, oh, this is Donald Trump escalating it. And it's like, well, yeah, but the system has been in place.
Yeah, it has been continuously escalated since its conception.
Yeah, and that's the thing. But it's just like, yeah, I don't know. It's very scary, and
yeah.
So,
Anyways, what game show would you like to go on?
Wild transition.
Yeah, we divulged a lot, or we diverted a lot from our original topics.
Literally. Let me say this real quick about the ICE thing. Call your senators. Call your House of Representatives. Your representatives from the House of Representatives.
Honestly, I don't even think that's going to work at this point. Because the Democrats aren't doing anything. Like, even if they wanted to fight back, they're just not.
Well, this is the whole thing. Is
like they're just sitting there. Guess we got no options. Gotta appease them.
They really. Well, that's the whole thing. Is the only option they have is to just do like civil disobedience, and that is effective because it rallies people. But yeah, I mean, they don't really have any power.
No, they
I'm not
don't have power, and they're not even like trying. Anyways. Yeah, that's it for this episode of the Learning Curve podcast. We have to go and drive to a different city to pick up a pizza.
Oh yeah, we are. We're 5 minutes behind right now. Shit.
Oh, we're 5 minutes behind?
Well,
I thought we needed to stop
said 1:45, but
oh shit, my bad.
I said 1:45 so that we had a 15-minute.
Okay, yeah.
So we're on time, but
still need Joe to show up wherever the fuck he's at.
If we say his name enough. Tell us what game show would you go on? Good.
Yep.
What game show would you go on? And then what, like, reality, I don't even know how to describe it.
Reality
competition?
TV show.
Competition.
Yeah.
Like Survivor, The Challenge kind of show would you go on?
Okay.
Yeah. And let's do socials. Because we almost forgot those.
Read them out like as fast as you can.
Okay, here we go. Ready?
Breath. Yeah.
Wait, one breath?
Yeah.
No. YouTube, I can barely breathe myself. So YouTube is Learning Curve Pod, Bluesky, Learning Curve Pod. Yeah, learningcurvepod.bsky.social. Twitter, we are at learncurvepod. Instagram, learningcurve.podcast. TikTok, we are at Learning Curve Podcast. Please follow the TikTok. We pick up so much steam on Thursdays for some reason and then lose it all on Friday.
Damn.
And then Bodhi's Twitch is Shrink3Dink.
All right.
Bye.
Thanks for watching. Bye.